To surround the eastern fortress city of Pokrovsk from the south, Russian forces first have to roll back Ukrainian defenses in Kurakhove, a village on the bank of the Vovcha River, 18 miles south of Pokrovsk, in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast. The Ukrainian Army's 33rd Mechanized Brigade and its German-made Leopard, 2 A4 tanks, stand in their way. On Monday, a powerful Russian force rolled toward Dalny, just south of Kurakhove, clearly aiming to fight its way through the former in order to bypass and cut off the latter. Well-aimed cannon fire from the 61-ton, 4-person Leopard 2, A4s 31 of which equipped the 33rd Mechanized Brigade's tank battalion, put a quick stop to the Russian assault. As a Ukrainian drone observed from overhead, at least one Leopard 2A4 firing armor-piercing rounds shot holes through 2 Russian tanks, an armored personnel carrier, and several other vehicles. Ukrainian drones chased after the survivors. "Effective work just blows the heads off the enemies," the 33rd Mechanized Brigade crowed. The battle in Dalny was a return to form for Ukraine's tanks. The proliferation of explosive drones has changed how tankers fight on both sides of Russia's wider war on Ukraine. Enemy and friendly drones crisscross the airspace, hunting for valuable targets like heavy armor and artillery, David Kirichenko wrote for the Center for European Policy Analysis in Washington, D.C. This aerial cat-and-mouse game has fundamentally altered tank tactics. Today, it's common for Russian and Ukrainian tanks to hide in tree lines, emerging only to fire a few cannon rounds at targets miles away, or, less often, to lead some desperate assault like the Russians' attack on Dalny. It's a new era of the cautious tank, according to SIPA. The 33rd Mechanized Brigade's up-armored Leopard 2 A4s were anything but cautious on Monday. They fought close and won. It helped the Ukrainian tankers that the Russian column was led by 2 Turtle tanks, fitted with bulky anti-drone armor that obscures the crew's visibility and also prevents the tank's turrets from rotating. Limited visibility and engagement options once you turtled your tank, and suddenly you find yourself in an engagement with a Leo 2, quipped open-source intelligence analyst Mochlison. The Russians have redoubled their offensive toward Pokrovsk, while also launching a counter-offensive against the Ukrainian-held salient in western Russia's Kursk Oblast. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to end the war in Ukraine potentially by leaning on Russia and Ukraine to agree to a ceasefire along the current front line. Russian President Vladimir Putin is determined to maximize Russian gains and minimize Ukrainian gains ahead of possible negotiations. The pace of Russian attacks has doubled or tripled in Kursk in recent days. There's been an uptick in attacks around Kharkov too. The Russians are going for broke, but the Ukrainians are too. Anyone who thinks Ukrainians will simply give up hasn't been paying attention, mused Tatarigami, the founder of the Ukrainian Frontelligence Insight Analysis Group. The United States will send Ukraine at least $275 million in new weapons, according to a Tuesday report by the Associated Press, AP. The AP cited 2 unnamed U.S. officials as saying the Pentagon will provide the new arms to help Kyiv in its war against Russia. The news agency noted that President Joe Biden's administration is trying to help Ukraine as much as possible before President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January. News of the $275 million in weapons comes after Biden authorized Ukraine to use U.S.-supplied missiles to strike deeper inside Russia, a move that's been condemned by the Kremlin. Earlier on Tuesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin approved an updated nuclear doctrine to share his country's nuclear deterrence with its allies, mirroring NATO's attack on one member is an attack on all doctrine. The Kremlin document, published by the Russian Defense Ministry on Telegram, replaced earlier decrees and states that Russian nuclear deterrence will be exercised against a potential enemy and views nuclear weapon use as an extreme measure. US officials said that Russia's shift in nuclear doctrine had been anticipated, but Moscow warned that Ukraine's use of US-supplied tactical missile system, ATACMS, within Russian territory could provoke a significant response. An American official, speaking to the AP on condition of anonymity, said there are no signs that Russia is preparing to deploy a nuclear weapon in Ukraine. When asked Tuesday whether a Ukrainian strike using longer-range US missiles could prompt the use of nuclear weapons, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confirmed it as a possibility. He referenced Russia's nuclear doctrine, which allows for such a response following a conventional attack that poses significant threats to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Russia or its ally, Belarus.